With us today is Petra de Boer. Petra has a passion for adopting agility, be it Scrum, outside of the IT department. Next to that, we have Wijninga. Well, his story is a true coming of age story. He will be telling about his journey into entrepreneurship with his company Watermelon. And last but not least, we have Hans Kemp. Now, it's difficult to categorize this fella into a certain role of functionality because he does everything. He's a trainer, he's a coach, and the guy has a knack for user experience design. So, that being said, let's start the show, and you're watching Agile Shots. Alright, welcome to the very first show of Agile Shots. The online show brings you your much needed octane doses of carefully selected topics in agility, spanning from innovative entrepreneurship to unquestionably responsiveness. And we'll infuse your brain and also kick it into fifth gear by seeking out dialogue with a selection of guests who all excel in their individual expertise. Well, let's start the program with Petra de Boer. Well, Petra, you're a novelist, so to speak, because you wrote the book Scrum In, Actie, which is Dutch for Scrum in Action. And what's the most interesting part, in my opinion, about your work is that you try to teach and apply the agile mindset outside of the, well, IT bubble, so to speak. Can you tell us a bit more about what you do, actually?
Sure. And let me begin by saying I know nothing about IT, or very little at least.
Yeah.
I got to first got introduced to Scrum Agile, but my introduction was via Scrum actually. Mm-hmm. Working on complex challenges, and I mean there's lots of talk about complexity these days, but if you're trying to define it, any challenges with lots of stakeholders, lots of actors, lots of factors that constantly influence each other in these complex domains, and you can think about questions, often public issues, things as debt relief, participation, any societal issues. We help bring all of those stakeholders together, get them to formulate a shared vision, if you want. I mean, there's all kinds of facilitation methodologies for that, large-scale interventions for those who have heard about that. Basically getting 80 people in a room and having a conversation that leads to something. And one of my colleagues was working with Scrum as being it a very practical method to work in the complex domain, because complexity is constantly within complexity, things are constantly moving and changing. And so this long-term planning no longer works.
Yeah. Can you say something about the biggest challenge you faced when adopting?
When adopting then, I think the biggest challenges at first was stuff like a product backlog. Mm-hmm. It took me forever to really grasp what that was. Also because from another angle, we were working on a project and somebody made this enormous Excel sheet with user stories and whatnot. Then I was totally lost. Mm-hmm. Because it was turned back into some kind of a paper, or in this case digital thing, and made it very almost old school in a way. And so it didn't, grasping what a product backlog was, mm-hmm. really the Excel sheet did not help. What we did, because then we ran into a number of people came together, and together we decided to write the book, because there was theory for a Scrum outside of IT, but very little practice at the time. Mm-hmm. And so that's where, call it the 7 of us, because we ended up being 7 authors, formed a Scrum team of 7. Actually, of course, with 7 Scrum Masters. That's not ideal, I can tell you that.
Okay. Yeah.
But a book did come out of it.
Yeah.
It's a real book. It's a real book. And not even too bad. It took us a year, I think. It took us a year, and it really helped us. So together, we really developed this practice of applying Scrum outside of IT. And by writing it all out and really discussing, what are our priorities? When are we done? by setting time limits. All of these very practical things which Scrum offers really helped us to have more fun, to finish on time.
Are there things you cannot do in a Scrum process way?
I think there are. I think what I find out, what I in many of the challenges, clients or organizations call us, and there's not a shared vision yet. There's not a shared agenda yet of where to go, particularly when it's large challenges, complex challenges with many different stakeholders. Outside of a company. When it's more of a social field where we have, for example, a municipality. If you still need to determine together to find each other on where you want to go, on your long-term goal, then I don't start with Scrum.
What are the principles then behind the practice like Scrum?
Behind the practice like Scrum, to me, it's it is the short cycle. It is the
iterative development. You mean
iterative development? Yeah, because. For one, it forces you to be much quicker in releasing something. People are scared to bring something to the final users because it might not be good enough. And so we're so afraid of making mistakes, and this helps you really to release much sooner, and so people can give feedback.
One final question, Petra. Where can we buy the book? Scrum in actie, Scrum in action.
Bol.com.
Bol.com.
Management book.
There you have it. Managementbook.nl, Bol.com.
Yeah.
Take your pick,
Thank you.
and it's available in stores right now. Over to you, Alexander. You find a way, a great invention actually with your Watermelon Messenger app, of course, to be able to extract information from WhatsApp and to supply it to like a customer service platform.
Exactly, yeah, that was the idea.
Yeah.
In the first hand, maybe some background information. When I was 17, I started building a company in social media marketing, and eventually our customers were asking for a client to use WhatsApp with multiple users, and it wasn't there. It just wasn't there. It wasn't able to do so either. We needed an API to create some software which provides WhatsApp for multiple users, and there was no API. Technically impossible. So we were looking on the internet, and we found something, and we eventually hacked and reversed engineered the Android app of WhatsApp into an API, so we could get the messages into our system. Well, to be honest, it was the best thing we ever did, because we became best young entrepreneurs of the year, best startup of the year, stuff like that. But in the end, it wasn't a long-term vision to use WhatsApp as a customer service tool, because you can't build a business on a hacked Android app. That is not possible. So we tried, and it brought us far. But eventually we changed our vision on social messaging. So we created a new dashboard and added Facebook Messenger, Line, Viber, WeChat, Twitter, Instagram, but also email and telephone. So you can have all the new messaging apps into a system where you can find all your old communication.
And what does the app do then? For me, as the baker, maybe?
Come again. The baker. It's the baker from the corner. Yes.
Who is
the bull from the corner.
Who is using it? So not so much what businesses are using it, but who is that person in that organization?
The customer,
what
the
is their
customer
role?
service people, the online marketing people, or the founder for the bakery itself. If the question comes in,
online marketing campaigns, or
no, just the customer support, or the Twitter support, or the Facebook Messenger support teams.
Concretely, someone posts a post on the Facebook account of the
on
baker from
the
the
direct message.
On the direct message, it will all be merging into the
so it doesn't matter if the bakery receives an email or a text message or a Facebook Messenger message. Exactly. It all comes down into one overview.
And over time, when that changes, you can add new channels and
Exactly, and that's why we're here in the Agile corner, because we are very agile. Some new apps pops up, and it has an API, because that's very important. We can
why is it
extract
important?
messages.
Sorry to interrupt you, but why is it important to have a freely open public API?
Well, it's important for us, otherwise we wouldn't do it again. We wouldn't use a reverse engineered API again.
Maybe it's sorry to interrupt again, but maybe it's good to give the boundaries. Reverse engineering is on borderline, well, it's not really legal, is it?
To be really honest, it's not illegal. And our customers were asking for it. So we wanted to provide something to help them further. And that is a normal thing as an entrepreneur. You seek for ways to provide the service you want to provide to your customers. So that's the main thing. And if it's illegal or not, it's not illegal. What we did, but definitely on the line.
How do you get agile? How are you agile?
What's your secret?
What makes you agile?
Well, I think I'm very young. I'm 22. I never worked into a company with blueprints. So we eventually always started agile. Just when I was 17, I started my first business, and I had people working for me. I didn't even know that I had to put them in the salary administration. I didn't know that, so I just paid them by transferring the money. That is like the basics of agile, I guess, and that's not how it works, but that's how it worked for me.
What does agile, or agility for that matter, mean to you in that sense?
I think fast is the main focus in our business. It always has been, and it brought us really, really far, time and time.
But fast is about staying ahead of the competition.
For example, staying ahead
of
of the competition and get your revenue up to the levels you want to, and also educate yourself on a fast level. Not just plan for a few months. Okay, we have to create email integration in our system, and we're planning it for 3 months. No, being fast. Okay, we need it, and we need it actually now. So, what do we have to change in our organization or in our planning to integrate email now?
And so, how do you make sure that you keep on dealing with those clients that that keep you on edge? See what I'm saying?
Yes, I don't think that's the problem, because we build software and it's just an update, and they won't even notice it that there is an update, that there is any change.
Yeah, I mean, okay, but ultimately there'll be features in your system. There'll be features that they want to use, and if you do not provide those features for them, they'll hop over to your competition.
Oh yes, they will, but they
That's
won't.
why you want to. That's why you want to stay focused and be fast and stay ahead of your competition.
Exactly. But even for the
competition.
competition.
You look at your clients for that. To drive that, as you say. Client focus.
Yeah.
There's a. It depends. Then it depends on what your clients ask you to do, right?
Yeah. Exactly, but you see competitors, but we're focusing on our clients. They have a question, they have a demand, and we want to answer it, and that is why we want to grow fast. Not even to be ahead of the competition, because we believe in ourselves, and we believe that our tool is the tool for customer service nowadays.
So Alexander, where do we go if you want to know more about Watermelon Messenger, for example?
Google it, Watermelon.
Google it,
Got
Watermelon Messenger, or watermelon.ventures if I...
Watermelon.nl.
Watermelon.nl, alright. Thanks for your time. Over to our last esteemed guest. Well, this man is really hard to fit in a box. Teacher, coach, user experience designer.
Our main focus is user experience design of business-to-business solutions. So what we look at is the software that is being used in organizations, primarily larger organizations, and help in these projects to actually to improve the user experience of that software. Design thinking is pretty old, right? And design and creativity is all about, I think, trying out, validating ideas, trial and error, exactly. And also, as a designer, being curious about, what comes out of it. Because I think, you cannot learn if you are not open to actually open to failure. Let's put it that way. Because it's so easy to think that you know how the world works, right? To know that you understand how it works and what it should be. Well, you don't. Agility, I think, is pretty much about the art of letting go. And the idea that you started out with probably is not the right idea. And it takes a different attitude to stay open for different directions and to be able to be proven wrong.
It reminds me of when you said the learning, it's the reflection. It's to me, part of the essence of agility is the reflective learning. The reflective learning, and both then on your, whatever you're developing, if it's a product or a service or whatever, what comes out, it's improving there. And then on the human side, the reflective learning as a team, those people working together.
I think the important thing is in which domain you're working. We're working in one startup, a small organization, and if we things let go, the hell breaks loose. So that is not working for us. We make borders when someone is new in a company. We still work agile, but there are borders.
Can you maybe explain more about those borders? How do they look like? What's the
Well, for example, we just sit down together and we start working and explaining. So we give those borders, and eventually you'll get to a point that a new coworker understands everything in his domain, and then he or she is free to let go. Then innovation comes, then interesting new ideas come, and then creativity finds its own way.
Does that concretely mean that, let's take a wild example, that your IT guys are working Scrum and your sales team is not, or?
Our sales team is not working Scrum.
Why is that?
Because we don't need it. We have our own method, and it's not like this lead is done. That is not how sales works. Sales is like people. You work with people and you call when your system or your feeling says, I have to call this client. I need to get him on the phone. I need to be there today to give a presentation. That is not how Scrum works. Scrum is like done and oh, it's a bug, and oh, this client wants that. That is not. Okay. So we're still agile, and we try to have it very creative, but not in sales.
That's a very interesting remark. So already people laughing, and I immediately want to strike a little bit of a bridge, because Petra, I'm looking at you, being the expert on moving and adopting Scrum outside of the IT. What are your thoughts when you hear Alexander making his remark?
I very much with the boxes, but I completely, in the challenges we work with, we often start with a central question. And to me, that's sort of the box. If you can't, whatever issue or problem you're working on, if you make it too large, you're never going to solve it. What I see in practice happening a lot is that the setting the boxes in the beginning, defining what the real issue is, that's not always that easy. Start with the client to really ask them first, put the assumptions aside, really ask people what they really want and need, and then deliver it in little steps and validate. Those are, to me, agile principles, which are very applicable.
I think what is interesting is that a lot of these creative, and especially when you talk about user experience design, is that those competencies are becoming part of the organization rather than something that they outsource, and that they, on a project basis, get into their organizations and projects. Your success as a startup very much is determined by the quality of the design that you deliver right at the start. That'll grow your audiences.
Alexander, Petra, and of course Hans, thank you for joining, and thank you for your time and energy.
Thank you very much.
And also, last but not least, the viewer, thanks for joining us, and until the next time, bye bye.